Hi guys, I promised a follow-up video on the Borealis software. Apologies for the quality once again. I tried to install some screen capture software on my PC, but it just wasn't recognising the mic, so I will try and do it this way. So I downloaded the Borealis software from the link that iWink sent, and this is on Windows 10. The installation process was quick and there were no errors of any kind. So let's just wait for this to load up. There we go. And again, apologies, I know this isn't clear, but hey, hopefully someone will come along soon with something better. So let me just try and get it into a state where it was when I first installed it. So, okay. Okay. So this actually looks different to when I first installed it. The reason is because I've used it one time. Basically, when you install Aurora Borealis, you will have a screen over here where you won't be seeing any of this. What slightly confused me is it would say, please select a session on the left. Obviously now you can see I have a session from Monday, but before there were no sessions, and it was just a little confusing how to proceed with using the software. The other thing is I installed the software without having Aurora plugged in. I just did that from just past experience when you sometimes buy USB devices, and I would say the majority of the time it's talked about installing the software before you plug it in. What I didn't want to do was plug in Aurora without the software and Windows thinking it's a SD card device, and that causing problems. I don't know if that's true, but just to let you know, the order I did it was Borealis first, loaded it up, and also some other feedback to iWinks was when I installed it, as I said, over on this part of the screen here, it would just say please select a session on the left. At no point did it actually remind me Aurora is not plugged in, which it may sound obvious, but I navigated around the software for a bit and thought, okay, it's time just to plug it in. Nothing changed, and then I realised you have to press the on button for Aurora. Again, that might seem obvious, but I assumed that it would have worked without the on button pressed, as it was connected via USB. So what I'm doing now is just going to have a look through what actually happened last night. So here's the session that was created for my first night's use. So if we click that here, and over here you'll have two tabs: sleep tracking and journal. Journal is just an area where you can enter free text information. So if we click on the sleep tracking, and we click that back arrow, so this is what's I got this morning when I plugged it in. Now, talking about last night's use of Aurora, as you can see from here, I didn't have a great night's sleep. 5 hours 42 minutes, but that was absolutely nothing to do with Aurora. I had to get up at 6 AM and I went to bed just after midnight, so you know, I can't blame the device for that, but it's just showing not a great quality of sleep there, or amount of sleep anyway. So, you know, it's difficult to really for me to verify what this is saying about sleep stages. As you can see, it's tracking here, starting off with light sleep. Are they a REM period, about half an hour after going to sleep, quarter of an hour after going to sleep, which surprised me. I do sometimes recall dreams within the first hour or so of falling asleep. I understood those were non-REM sleep stages, but okay, I'm not an expert on this. So just to show you an initial short REM period, moving on to a larger REM period, we then have a period of deep sleep, light sleep, more light sleep, and again further REM. So just before waking up, from say 5 AM to 6 AM, we have quite a lot of REM, which is, from my amateur understanding, is quite normal to have those REM periods much more predominant in the last stages of sleep. The only thing that I would point out as a possible inaccuracy, and it may not be a big deal, is I do remember waking at about, I think it was 4:55, because I actually got up, I got out of bed, checked the clock, and went back in again. So that's not reflected on here because it does say awake, and at no point, as far as I can see, it actually registers as being awake. But that's probably just a minor issue. It also shows movement along the bottom. So again, around about 4:55, 5 AM, it's not registering a large amount of movement. So I don't know if that is an issue with the movement sensor or just to do with the algorithm about how it's presenting. Okay, so the other view on here, as well as the graph, is we have these arrows where you can click and you get a pie chart. So it's just giving you a summary of the different stages. Okay, I appreciate it's not very easy to see on here, but just before I just have a look at the other parts of Borealis, I just wanted to say how the night was with Aurora. As I say, I had it in passive mode, so all it was doing, it was clearly doing quite a lot in achieving this tracking, but I wasn't putting any REM stimulus on there at all. So it was actually quite strange putting it on, going to sleep, and having no awareness if it was actually working or not. You get the initial purple lights on, but then after that the lights will go off, and you put it on your head and you're just wondering, is this working or not? And the only sign that you get is when you take it off in the morning, plug it in here, and you get a sleep session. So that was a nice surprise to actually see I had put it on correctly and it was doing the tracking that it's meant to do. The only other thing I can really observe is how comfortable it was, which was very, I'm glad to say. On my last video I did say that this was the only Kickstarter campaign I've been involved in. I actually remembered that wasn't true. I actually got a REMI device, which I very quickly gave up with. I just found it very uncomfortable, and I would normally wake up in the morning having subconsciously taken it off in the night. So that was my concern, that I'm not used to having something strapped onto my head at night, and I would just take it off. But absolutely didn't. It was really very comfortable. The strap at the back of my head did sort of ride up very slightly towards the top of my head, but it didn't affect the positioning at all. So perhaps I need it a little bit tighter. I went to sleep on my back, which I thought would be the best position to have Aurora. But from experience, I know that during the night I will move onto my side, and I don't recall waking up because that caused discomfort at all. So 10 out of 10 for comfort so far. So well done, iWinks. Okay, so just a quick tour around the software, and this will be quick because it's not easy to show you without the screen capture software. Okay, so if we go up to here, so we're looking at our current session. The other options are account, which will have my sort of email and postcode in, but the information that's relevant to look at here is the profiles. So when you get Borealis, it will have one profile, which is the default, and the default will be non-REM stimulation and sleep tracking, sorry, the data transfer enabled. So I've left that on because I want iWinks to have that information. As I say, because of the quality of this, I won't go into this in detail, but it's just to say, if you want to customize these settings, you would say turn the REM stimulation on. So it's very difficult to show this. And then you get the options about smart alarm, and you get the options about REM stimulation. See if we can show you that. Not easy on this. Okay, let's have a look. So REM stimulation enabled. Oh, that's right. So we need to go into advanced settings, and there you will see you have the different options about what colour lights to use, whether you want to use the built-in buzzer and REM stimulation, delay and interval. So just to show one example, let's go into here, and you can see you can set the colour and the effect. So blink effect, and then you can set the you can do a preview effect, and then if you click on here, you've got the different options about colour. So I say I won't go through all this in detail. Just to say that after you have made your selections and you've created a profile, there's the option to then save that. So if I went to save, and you can see it's created a new one. And then if you wanted to use that, then you would save to Aurora, but which I haven't actually got connected. Actually, I could do that now as a demonstration. Let's fumble around for the USB. On the PC, by the way, I'm being very careful with the USB port on the actual device. Okay, so Aurora is plugged in. And let's see how quick it takes to register that. Okay, so it's still recognising it. I made the mistake I made last time. I haven't actually switched it on. It's plugged in, so I'll turn the Aurora on. And there we go, you can see. And we'll click Save to Aurora. And I assume that's done. Okay, so again, sorry for the shaky video, guys. Someone needs to come along who's got some screen capture software. But overall, the Borealis software is very easy to use. I say my one recommendation would be when you first load it up, it indicates whether Aurora is connected or not, because you can't get very far without connecting it. And yeah, it's very promising. That looks a fairly typical sleep graph. Obviously not being an expert, but looking at images online, you do tend to see graphs that look very much like this, much more REM in the later stages. So the tracking looks great, and I can confirm it really is, personally I find it very comfortable. Okay, let me know if you have any questions and I'll do my best. My plan is to still use this in tracking mode for about a week before I look at REM stimulation, but I certainly want to be getting some more sleep before I start messing with that. Okay, thanks guys.